Yo, it's Icky here. I thought I'd do something a little bit different today and talk a bit about ORAS. ORAS being Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, specifically Battle Spot Singles, which is what it was back in the day. I haven't actually said Battle Spot Singles for a very long time, so I nearly caught myself there. Basically, I just noticed there wasn't much in the way of resources for ORAS, so I thought it'd be interesting to kind of give people a quick overview of the metagame for those who are kind of just a bit interested in learning and playing the older metagame. I can talk a bit about my history, which was kind of at first, ORAS wasn't really my cup of tea. There was a bit too much Kang, to be honest, and I'm not a huge fan of Kang, so I kind of shied away from the tier in general. I kind of had to learn though how to play it properly for BSPL, so I kind of spent a lot of time researching and getting to know the tier. And yeah, as I played a bit more, I started enjoying more, and yeah, so here we are today. What I will say is there's like few people that have like a decent knowledge of the older tiers, and there's like of those few people there's even fewer willing to kind of take the time to share and chronicle the knowledge, so I kind of thought I'd give it a go. Most of the shit that I'm saying is just off the top of my head, so if it's not 100% accurate, I do apologize. So yeah, when people are thinking of ORAS, they're kind of thinking of something like this. So yeah, it's Mega Kangaskhan team, and it's just Kangaskhan plus Cresselia, specifically Rocky Helmet Cresselia. That's like the main linchpin core, and Kang's job is just to destroy everything in its path with its broken ability, parental bonds, which is absurd in this generation. It's basically like a choice band combined with a multi-hit move on every attack, and Kang has decent attack. Like, okay, this is not Mega Kang, this is, you kind of want Scrappy specifically, pre-Mega, so that's why this has got Scrappy. I'll see if I got one with a Mega Kang. So yeah, Mega Kang base 125 attack, but with a choice band, it's like pretty strong. Anyways, back onto Kang Cress. Yeah, basically a choice band with multi-hit moves on every attack. I mean, it does come with the ability to like break sashes, but also stuff like even running like Secret Power or Ice Beam or Ice Punch. You get double the chance to hack someone, for example. So there's like little things that make Kang even better. But yeah, Kang would just like great. Most teams that didn't have like basically didn't have a stall Pokemon on them, and then Cresselia would just be there as the way to deal with Kang, and it has a variety of utility moves that makes it really strong. So how these teams would go was you'd have Kang, you'd have Cress, and then you'd have something to deal with Cress. So your Kang could go in. In this particular case, it's like Volcarona. This specifically Specs kind of became more popular as a breaker during the later seasons, but I know, earlier on, and Quibberdance Volk is still really good in ORAS. You'd have Specs would just do tons of damage, and yeah, nothing really like appreciates switching into Overheat or Bug Buzz. Then Psychic is for like your fighting megas. In this particular case, you have this Volk spread would just lift a Mega Blaziken, Fladlets or something similar, and then you can smack it with Psychic. And yeah, and then what you'd want after that is like a Hippo or a Breloom check, something that will like stop your entire team falling asleep. In this case, we have Thunderous, would just substitute on Spore or Yawn. And then you have your own Volk check, which is in this case Dragonite, and which is also a Talonflame check. You need a Talonflame check at least, especially if you're running something like Volcarona. You don't really need it as much on this team, though. Like stuff like Spadef, Bulk Up can be really annoying. You generally want some sort of Talonflame check, just because Priority Brave Bird kind of hurts Kang quite hard if it's like banded. Crest can deal with like offensive variants of T-Flame, but you need to worry about the defensive variants, which is also where you have Fund. And then lastly, Cloyster is just there to deal with stuff like Garchomp and other strong dragons. So that would be like a typical build for ORAS, which is kind of just show you the principle of team building in ORAS in general. This is another example. This one is a Kang offend, but it's without Cresselia. You don't have to run Cresselia. Cresselia is the most common Kang check, but the formula was you get something that's physically defensive. So in this case, it's Gaston. It has just about enough bulk to sponge hits from Kang, but generally you'd run something like a Hippo or a Suicune. Rocky Helmet is generally used because it just chips Kang super hard, like because it's using Parental Bond against it essentially, but also works versus like Mega Lucario, Mega Lopunny, Mega Charizard X, Mega Blaziken, Mega Mawile, which were other common like physical megas. But yeah, general same formula. You have this has your Night as well, so you need a Sleepwalker. You have Fund as a Sleepwalker on this team. You have the Talonflame check. The Gastro Chomp can also check Talonflame, because it'll be faster if it tries to Wisp Chomp, and can still edge it, as well as Volk check. This is also a Volk check as well. Talonflame, another Volk check. One thing to note about like this team and Kang in general is like its versatility. This has Ice Beam on it. Ice Beam is you might want to switch into say Chomp, has rough skin and stuff like that, and does have enough bulk to live hits from Kang. Generally, the reason you wouldn't see like something like Chomp or D-Knight be your Kang check. It's because Kang can often run Ice Beam and run a mix set, because it has decent enough special. Well, its special attack is not very good, but Ice Beam is a very good move. So yeah, other examples of moves Kang could run is like Secret Power. It also run Power Punch. So these are things that are really worth thinking about when dealing with Kang. It's quite versatile as well in what it does. I think like beyond Kang teams, which were kind of the most common archetype in high ladder ORAS, you'd be seeing quite a lot of stores just make that a standard store. Basically, Kang is very constricting to the meta, but like there is an exception to this rule where it's like similar to the Zacian meta in Series 8 of BSS, where you just store would be very strong because that's the only thing that can actually, Quagsire is the only thing that can actually switch into Zacian C. Whereas it's kind of similar, only fat stuff like Skarmory and Quag could switch into Kang and just shrug it off no matter what. Blitzcore, Skarmory, and Chansey and Blissey are your kind of your store core. That would be like what almost every store would have. Blitzcore is like kind of an anti-opposing Stormon. You can use Guillotine to get rid of for other Fatmons. Generally just check stuff like Heatran, which would otherwise obliterate the stall. Then you have your Trapper. In this case, it's Mega Gengar. Often it would be Tyranitar instead of Mega Gengar. This is just there to trap opposing stall Pokemon, so opposing Chansey, opposing Skarmory, or stuff like Cresselia it can trap as well, and just remove them from the game. So if you're playing like Cressharatran against this, I mean obviously Mega Heracross is a huge threat, but you can get rid of Cresselia, and that way it couldn't like Healing Wish Mega Heracross up later in the game. Then yeah, Stall in particular did have to watch out for Mega Gengar, so you more commonly see T-Tar here over Gengar. So yeah, this is the most common trapper. This particular trapper lives Gengar lives a Shadow Ball from opposing Gengar, so it's there to just mess with itself essentially as well. But yeah, I'd say with I should say the last part of the team is generally a stopper of some sort. You have Quag, which is your unaware stopper, but also this Mungus is something somewhat common in Stall, where it's just a Sashmon with Clear Smoke, which just stops things getting out of hand. Also has Spore. This can deal with Brazoom as well, which could just sleep everything, especially sub Toxic Orb. Brilliant was really annoying, so yeah, you need something to deal with that at least. But yeah, Stall was probably the strongest in this gen, but there are strong breakers, generally a lot of strong fighting Megas. So yeah, Mega Heracross, Mega Mawile, not a fighting Mega Lucario, Mega Gengar. You can even run stuff like Togekiss, Offensive Thunderous, which could still break, but it's definitely a style to be respected in the builder. So I thought a bit about Cressharatran, or at least I mentioned it earlier. Popular style in ORAS. And Cressharatran is just Cresselia, Mega Heracross, and Heatran. Cress kind of is known in more recent gens to bring a bit of to just be predictable and a dead weight, but in ORAS it's quite unpredictable, and it really adds another dimension to what Mega Heracross can do. So like you're thinking about all the support moves that Cress can bring. So Trick Room, T-Wave, and Healing Wish are the main ones that synergize with Mega Heracross, and then the problem with these two are they're like generally weak to strong fire types like Charizard Y, Spadef Talonflame, and Volcarona. So that's why you have Heatran here, which is your check to all of those. And then yeah, like in this team in particular, you have Fund, Garchomp, and Guard. Guard is a very strong special wall breaker in the tier in its own right. With Calm Mind, it gives you an outrage immunity as well. Trace has a lot of utility, so you can kind of fit Guard as like an interesting alternate mega depending on what you need. And then yeah, Fund and Garchomp are just aura staples that fit onto any team. And with like Cressharatran, you generally want, this is a slow team, so you want some sort of faster mode, which you have in the Prankster, you have in Guard tracing like stuff like it would trace stuff like Blaziken's Speed Boost, or Thunderous's Prankster, and could get priority that way, or even trace Heatran's Flash Fire. This team doesn't like switching into Heatran. So yeah, you kind of Fund would break through in this particular team, would break through Sweeping, which just obliterates its team otherwise. So yeah, that's just to give you like an example of Crest Tran team. The core is very strong. You generally just want a fast mode and patch up its weaknesses. Heracross only has has kind of a 4 move slot syndrome. So this team is weaker to Suicune just because it doesn't have Bullet Seed on Heracross. This has Substitute instead. You generally always want Pin Missile just for Crest. But yeah, the other moves are kind of up in the air. Rock Blast is also very good for stuff like Fun. But yeah, the sub here is obviously for Hippowdon. So yeah, I'll talk about P2 Morwal. P2 Morwal is probably the other big like Tricoon core. This is like a proper Tricoon core. Just in ORAS, as in every BSS tier ever, 4 rooms is rubbish. 7 rooms is absolutely brilliant. Often you see Breloom on paired with this, just like you do in Gen 7, and sometimes you even see stuff like Jellicent or Chandelure paired with these Pokemon as well as not an alternate setter and something that could actually deal with a lot of Kangs just through Will-O-Wisp and being immune to normal type. These teams generally struggle with Heatran, which is why you see Chomp here, and you see H ground on the P2. Generally, you have fast mode. It's pretty similar to in Gen 7. If you know the Surapoke team, which has Mega Gyarados and Naganadel. This team just has Mega Gengar and Garchomp. So yeah, Gengar puts pressure on Store and traps. It's generally just a good utility mon, but at least with Mega Marwal you can break through Crest and you can break through Store, so you don't need Mega Gengar. The Mega Gengar is nice. Now I can talk a bit about some of the fighting mons that we use. So kind of there was a meta to there was the Kang teams, and then it was like we need to CT Kang teams, which is where you get stuff like Mega Blaziken and Mega Lucario or Scene. So you see the Fire type Megas. All of these teams, nearly all of them had Mega Gengar on. You have Mega Gengar because otherwise Crest Celia destroys Fire type Megas. So yeah, this is kind of a typical Blaziken team. I could have shown a Blaziken Ferrothorn Zapdos team, which was kind of a common core in ORAS, but it did fall off a bit because even with Zapdos, unfortunately Blaziken and Ferrothorn are just too Talonflame. Like stuff like Banded Fleblets. It's just like a nightmare for those teams to deal with. So yeah, all these fighting teams also they all need Talonflame checks. So yeah, in this particular case, you have Heatran for Spadef and Crest for offensive Talonflame. Offensive is generally like stuff like Bandage. Bandit is the main one you need to worry about, but then you have like the Spadef Bulk Up, Will-O-Wisp, T-Flames, which is where Heatran comes in as a kind of a cushion for that. You can kind of just, well, I think actually Spadef Downflame just destroys this, but if it doesn't have Fleblets, it will generally only have one move, either Fleblets or a flying move, in which case one of Fund or Triangle will beat it. There's kind of the Tom Pass is generally used on Blaziken teams, even if this team doesn't need the Tom Pass at all. It's just good utility that people have to respect, but it's not a stop need on this team. Getting a +1 on like Thundurus or Breloom is nice. These aren't particularly easy towards it. And then yeah, this volume set you see here is like why you need like some sort of sleep check. I mean, this team is not going to worry too much about it just due to having stuff like make Gengar, which just like completely destroys this. Or you can use even skill swap on Cresselia would destroy this after Mega Gengar comes in and clicks Icy Wind. But you need to respect this. Or well, Mega Gengar just occurs this set, but you need to respect Breloom is what I'm saying, which is why you need some sort of way to deal with sleep in the ORAS team. So yeah, I talked a bit about that. This is about more of a form Blast Pass. These are kind of less common, but you can choose people with Blast Pass. This one kind of just relies on hacks. Yeah, you can run cancer teams like this. Generally, how you want to do your Blast Pass teams, and this is the same in every gen. You want to Flying type. This case, it's Tool case. Zapdos is another common one, where it's immune to just Earthquake and stuff like Garchomp, and then Extra is kind of just like your ideal pass. So yeah, that's the basic formula. And Road to Beat is just there in case like they have Thunderous basically. This look at this set. It says like something out of Satan's laboratory. Mega Lucario. I thought I'd talk about Mega Luke because it's just rubbish in Usam, but it is. The ORAS is, if you want to play with Lucario playing ORAS, this one's actually pretty good. So yeah, Disability hits really hard. Both sides hits both sides of the spectrum. You have the bigger Gengar as always for Crest. This team also has AG weakness policy to bait in Talonflame. And Rocky Helmet Rotom's there for Kang when you can't bring Lucario in certain matchups. Yeah, I won't talk too much about it because it's not that important for the team. Star, yeah, this is a physical variant of Luke. Same formula really. T-Flame check. There you go. There it is. There it is. And Stall quest check. There we go. Mega Gengar. It's always on there. And then you have your an interesting opposing anti-lead there for Fund and Chomp. And your sleep check. Yeah. Yawn check is Sweet Cream. So they just talk a bit about hacks teams. I can't describe them more as like hacks teams. So there's a specific way Japanese players talk about this style of team, but it's like something you should respect for sure. Swagger Thunderous, basically, the idea behind the team is you swagger opponent something on Thunderous, then copy it with Ditto, and you just counter sweep. If it goes wrong and they have like something like Lum, or they somehow survive Ditto Fiend, you have Clefable, Unaware Clefable, which will stop you just getting set up on
as well. And then you have power hacks, Kang into Glalie, and then Storm and Mega Sableye with Will-O-Wisp to just annoy the opponent team and stop hazards getting up. Yeah, these teams are kind of weak to certain Pokemon like Gardevoir and Mega Gengar. And Sylveon is another one. Sylveon's just like just another strong fairy, but they can be very scary. I'm not going to go into this team too much. I just thought I'd mention Age/Brettai Dragon. This is a stronger duo. I just thought I'd mention two of these particular duos. Yeah, this team is all the same as a Kang team, as most Kang teams. Azu, actually another decent T-Flame check I didn't mention. Rhyperior, you know, as is if it has a Rocky Helmet, decent max HP, max defense, bold nature. Well, this is impish. Yeah, every team needs this to deal with Kang. And then you have like Venusaur. This Pokemon isn't too good, unfortunately, in this gen, because Talonflame just destroys it. Means it can't do what it would like to do, as well as Heatran, Volcarona, etc. All the strong fire types, but it can be used. A lot of other cores can be used, and then there's Lassie Sizzle. I think that's the last one I'm going to go over. Lassie Sizzle also like a strong duo. I think this is its strongest generation, stronger than Usum. You'd see it more sparingly, but these two generally have good synergy. Lassie takes the fire attacks for Scizor. And then Scizor can kind of take dragon attacks and strong physical attacks for Lassie. One thing that should be noted is both these Pokemon get destroyed by Volcarona. So you have Heatran on this team, you have Greninja. The choice behind a Greninja in this gen, Water Shuriken, is physical, obviously became special in Gen 7. And you could see it the other way around, so it could be regular Scizor plus Mega Latias or Mega Latias. Hippo, yeah, is just a standard check for Mega Kangaskhan. Another standard check for T-Flame, which I've done quite too much work. And then yeah, look at this low kick for Kang and for just of bulky almost T-Tar as well. So yeah, that's kind of it really. I just wanted to go into some overview of some strong ORAS comps. I'll put a base in the description. There are kind of some common comps I didn't go into, like Hippozard, Zard X more than Zard Y was seen in ORAS, but Zard Y is still strong. I mean, you still have that mind game. Zard Y kind of suffers from Talonflame existing as competition and generally and Volcarona, so stuff that counters souls generally also counters Zard. Zard X kind of suffers from stuff like Suicune, Hippo, and all the stuff that's meant to counter Mega Kang. You have Rain, which is mainly Politoed plus Kingdra. The way that Mega Revolution works means that Swampert unfortunately is slow when it Mega Evolves, even in Rain, so it's not as good. It can still be used. Then there's Japanese Sand, Mega Salamence, T-Tar plus Extra Drill. which started in mid ORAS. Pretty good core. Mega Elements, not the monster it turned out to be in Usum. Still very strong actually. Pretty decent. It does a lot of ice coverage here, and Scarf Garchomp, very annoying. Defensive Rocky Helmet Mons, very annoying. Cresselia, extremely annoying. So it has some issues, but it can still do stuff. Actually, the Spadef spread that you see popping up in Usum comes from ORAS, the 156, 212 HP, 156 Spadef Mega Salamence. They used to use it in Japanese Sand, funnily enough. Even though it's for Celesteela breaking subs, Spadef Salamence has been around for a long time, but its general bulk. So yeah, I'll pop all these teams in the description. I thought I'd keep this a little bit shorter, and kind of, if you want to find ORAS teams, I generally recommend looking on AAA, that's 4 A's Pokemon, which was the precursor to No Fuka. I'll put that in the description as well, and I hope you guys have fun playing ORAS.